The concerns that our country's fighting forces may not be ready when the time comes. A brand new report from a former Navy admiral as well as a retired Marine general painting a dire picture of the U.S. Navy as it stands today.
Sandra, the report finding that the branch simply is not focused on war. Instead, the retired officers say the time being spent on diversity training and other cultural issues comes with a cost and is actually harming the Navy. As one active duty lieutenant put it, sometimes I think we care more about whether we have enough diversity officers than if we'll survive a fight with the Chinese Navy.
There was no single incident that led to this review, but driving it, the ship that caught fire in San Diego last year and a couple collisions involving U.S. warships from just a few years ago. All three leading to questions over whether the Navy is facing an institutional crisis.
Senator Tom Cotton weighs in on all of that in just a moment. But first to Lucas Tomlinson with the details from the report. He's live at the Pentagon. Hi, Lucas.
Hi, John. The report is based on interviews with 77 current and former sailors and officers in the U.S. Navy. President Biden's pick to be the next Navy secretary was asked about it this morning on Capitol Hill.
I will confirm to actually look at all the administrative burdens that our surface Navy has to contend with and ensure that their primary focus is based on warfighting, training, and skills. And it's important not to have a zero defect mentality. You are correct.
The report blames a culture of insufficient leadership focus on warfighting, a dominant and paralyzing zero defect mentality, and an expanding culture of micromanagement.
We welcome all these insights and all the scrutiny over the United States Navy. I think Navy leaders today understand well that their officers, their leaders, their petty officers, their sailors, they're human beings, and that people do make mistakes.
Is the U.S. Navy ready for war?
Yes.
A year ago, the USS Bonhomme Richard caught fire in San Diego. It took days to extinguish the massive warship now scrapped. It's incidents like this with two at-sea collisions in 2017 involving billion-dollar destroyers John S. McCain and Fitzgerald, killing 17 sailors in the Pacific, and the surrender of a U.S. Navy crew to the Iranians in 2016 that sparked several Republicans to launch the review. And many lawmakers would like the Navy to build more warships to compete with China. John? Sandra?
Lucas, thank you for teeing that up for us. Sandra?
Thank you, Lucas. Let's bring in Senator Tom Cotton, one of the lawmakers who commissioned this report. He's a member of the Senate Armed Services and Intelligence Committees and joins us now. Senator, this is alarming to hear. Is this really the case? Is there a major question whether or not our U.S. Navy's ready for battle?
Sandra, I believe the surface Navy, our destroyers and other surface combatant ships, need a cultural change. I think some of this goes back 30 years to the fall of the Soviet Union and the loss of a pacing peer competitor on the seas. But this report is not coming from me. It's not coming from my counterparts in the House, Congressman Gallagher, Banks, and Crenshaw. It's coming from sailors. It's coming from those sailors and their chiefs and their junior officers, in some cases commanding officers, who have lost confidence that the Navy's surface warfare component is ready to fight and win tonight. You've heard the report from Lucas and the questioning that I had for the nominee to be Secretary of the Navy today about the administrative burdens, the zero defect mentality, the focus on training for things other than warfighting. Obviously, the Navy has a big and complex task, but the single most important thing we have our surface Navy for is to be ready to fight and defeat the Chinese Navy. And right now I have real problems or real doubts that the Navy has instilled the kind of warfighting mentality that would allow us to accomplish that goal.
Senator, you said this problem goes back decades. Certainly, it has been out there for at least a couple of years now in terms of the warnings, because 2 years ago, a professor at the Naval War College, James Holmes, told Reuters that he believes that the United States Navy has been caught napping by Beijing. He told Reuters, quote, "We thought China would be a great pushover for way too long, and so we let them start the naval arms race while we dawdled." And China's sights seem to be set not just on the South China Sea, but the entire Western Pacific and Indian Ocean regions.
Yeah, John, it's true that we've allowed China to still march on us. That relates especially to shipbuilding. China has been engaged in a massive shipbuilding campaign. We need to do more of that in the United States as well. We need to build more ships. We need a larger Navy. But just as important is how we train our sailors, especially our leaders, on those ships. And this report shows that in some cases, surface warfare officers were simply given 23 DVDs and sent out to the fleet and told, read these in your spare time to get trained. We would never do that to a Navy aviator. We would never do it to a Navy nuclear engineer. We shouldn't be doing it to our surface warfare officers either. They deserve a lot better, and the sailors they lead deserve a lot better as well.
I get the sense so many will be shocked to hear some of the details of this report, such as the quagmires pointed out. In the question whether or not the Navy's ready for war, the non-combat curricula consume Navy resources, clog inboxes, create administrative quagmires, and monopolize precious training time, to your point, Senator, by weighing down those sailors with non-combat related training and administrative burdens. Both Congress and Navy leaders risk sending them into battle less prepared and less focused than their opponents. I want to finish off with this, to your point about those sailors who were interviewed for this report, Senator. They do not believe the Navy prioritizes fighting and winning, they say, because Navy leaders do not talk about fighting and winning. Unless changes are made, the Navy risks losing the next major conflict. So what changes would you start with, Senator?
So, Sandra, there's a host of recommendations in the report from the senior former Navy and Marine Corps leaders who helped conduct this review for us. They should get a surface warfare training program. They should stick with it, just like they have for naval aviators and nukes for decades. They should eliminate the zero defect mentality, where every small minor misstep could cost you your job. That, of course, stifles innovation and dynamic leadership. Admirals shouldn't be looking over the shoulder digitally with a camera and information communications technology trying to micromanage what our captains of ships 500 miles away are saying. They need to make sure they stick to maintenance schedules. It's fine to post a maintenance schedule, but when you continue to extend the deployments, you throw off the maintenance schedule, you throw off future deployment and training cycles. The Navy needs to stick to its maintenance schedules to make sure that these ships that cost $1 billion are being well maintained.
Senator, I want to change subjects if I could and ask you about something that I know you have personal experience with because you served with the military in Afghanistan. Do you have any doubt that in the near future the Taliban will regain control of Afghanistan?
John, I don't think there's much doubt about that. You can see that the Taliban's positions are advancing even faster than the Biden administration predicted a few months ago. And that's a grave concern for America's security. We have to remember that Afghanistan is where al-Qaeda launched the 9/11 attacks from. They were harbored there, they were safe there, they planned it there, and then they were conducted from people who were guided by their leaders in Afghanistan. Al-Qaeda and ISIS and other terrorist organizations are still in Afghanistan. It's very hard for us to conduct counter-terrorist operations against those terrorist organizations if there's zero American presence in Afghanistan, because it's not surrounded by a lot of friendly countries. That's different from, say, Syria or Yemen or Somalia. So it's increasingly clear to me that President Biden didn't have much of a plan for continuing those counterterrorism operations in Afghanistan when he made the decision to withdraw all our troops, and that could put American lives at risk.
I believe CENTCOM as of this morning confirmed about 95% of the withdrawal there is complete. The Taliban claims that they have, they're now occupying about 85% of the territory there. There's a brand new video. We're going to show still images of it. We don't have any reason to believe that this is not authentic, but in the case that it was not, we have still images of Taliban fighters that are seen on video screaming Allahu Akbar as they execute 22 Afghan commanders, Senator, who were surrendering after running out of ammo. Footage did emerge that we are showing you the pictures of the terror group urging city leaders to surrender. This is brand new video, Senator, and I just wanted to get your reaction to that.
Well, Sandra, obviously I can't verify the accuracy of that video or not, but it's exactly the kind of thing the Taliban would do. And because the Taliban are led by such men, because they encourage such actions in their ranks, they're not likely to be a good counterterrorism partner for the United States of America. And that remains our core interest in Afghanistan, as it has been for 20 years, to make sure that Afghanistan is not used as a launching pad for another terrorist attack against the United States.
You know, Senator, when I asked administration officials in the last 18 months about drawing down in Afghanistan and whether or not the Taliban would take over, they suggested, well, this is a new Taliban. But it kind of looks like, you know, the new Coke. Nobody liked the new Coke, so they went back to the old Coke. Do you believe that the old Taliban will eventually reemerge?
Well, I'm afraid you're already starting to see it reemerge, John. And once it takes over Afghanistan entirely, I'm afraid you're going to get back to where we were in the late 1990s, a lawless, ungoverned country in which terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State have the freedom of action and freedom of movement to carefully and deliberately and thorough plot terrorist attacks against the United States and against our citizens. And that's a real danger to America.
Senator Tom Cotton, appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you.